Anxiety 101. Do you ever experience fear or worry that stops you from doing what you want to do, including trying new things? This is anxiety. It's a reaction we experience in both our minds and our bodies in response to stressful, dangerous, or unfamiliar situations. Anxiety happens when we allow our creative brains to imagine possible outcomes and then we dwell on the uncomfortable ones. Fear and anxiety are useful emotions that can help us anticipate danger or threats so we can adapt to our environment and stay safe. The reality is, most of the time, we are very physically safe in our environments. So, our anxiety is more about the discomfort of feeling like we can't control how things turn out rather than the fear of actual physical danger. In other words, anxiety is the fear of uncertainty. Our fight-flight stress response, with its increased heart rate and breathing and muscle tension, is our body's physical way of preparing for action. Although we often associate these physical sensations of fight-flight with uneasiness, distress, or dread, these feelings don't actually mean something bad is going to happen. In fact, as we described in an earlier session on stress, these are the same sensations that we associate with the excite-delight stress response: butterflies in our stomach, jittery, tense, restless, excitement, and anticipation. So what makes us interpret the same nervous feelings as bad? The problem is, in many situations, we've learned to associate the physical sensations of nervousness with fear of uncertainty. We're afraid of making a mistake, and we struggle to cope with the discomfort we're feeling, so we stop engaging in activities and situations that are important to us, and we stop trying new things. What can we do about it? Something we can do when we're feeling anxious is to manage our immediate physical discomfort using the skills we've covered in earlier modules. Breath and the sensory experiences from our toolkit recharge our resilience battery. Once we've got our physical feelings of distress under control, we can address our emotional discomfort by working to change our mindset about the situation. We can relearn to interpret our physical sensations as excite-delight, and as our body creating the energy we need to rise to the challenge. We'll introduce more ways to manage anxiety later on in this module. What does anxiety look like? Anxiety usually comes after we've been worrying about something for a while. When we experience anxiety, our stress response may turn into physical signs and symptoms like chest pains, trembling or shaking, shortness of breath, nausea, dizziness, or feeling detached from your body. When we're anxious for extended periods of time, we may have difficulty with sleep or concentration due to thinking about the anxiety or the worry. Sometimes people experience what we call a panic attack. A panic attack is an intense feeling of fear and severe physical response that comes on suddenly in minutes rather than hours. Sometimes they can happen even without an obvious cause or trigger. If you think you're experiencing a panic attack, or you know that this happens to you with some regularity, please seek help from your parents, teachers, counselors, or the school mental health team. Another sign of anxiety is having any of these common thoughts, a lot. Feeling like you're a burden on other people, persistently overthinking things, focusing on your insecurities or needing extra reassurance, or constantly thinking about things that are out of your control. As horrible as these symptoms are, sometimes people don't let on that they're experiencing them. There are many reasons for why this might be, and we're not going to discuss those reasons right now. What we are going to discuss is how people often behave when they're experiencing anxiety. Not just so you know for yourself, but also so you can spot it in other people and possibly help them or be more understanding. As we said earlier, when we're afraid of something or we dislike an experience, we tend to avoid the situations that could lead to those uncomfortable feelings. People can present with anxiety in different ways. Here are some of the common behaviors. We may become unwilling to move away from what we think of as comfort and safety. When pushed to leave our comfort zones, we may respond with irritation or anger that seems a little over the top for the situation. Sometimes we act bored or indifferent, like we don't care. And because we may recognize we aren't fun to be around, or we may just feel antisocial, we might choose to isolate ourselves and pull away from friends and family.